All right, and welcome into Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. We're coming to you late night. We're not fooling, but it's April Fool's Day. Boston Bruins lose to the Washington Capitals at home. Score was 4-3. Game that turned out to be better than I expected it to be. I will fully admit, Razor. I don't know about you, especially when the Bruins were down 2-0. But we'll get to that in a moment. Bruins now winless in 9. Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor, proudly presented by our lead sponsor, Fazenda Coffee Roasters out of Dedham. Whether you are running a cafe or a bakery or just want a great cup of coffee at home, everybody knows by now. Go check out fazendacoffee.com. Fazenda Coffee Roasters, they've got you covered with every type of coffee you could want. Light roast, medium, dark roast, whole bean, ground, whatever you want. Even the special morning brew blend, which is crafted for Bruins fans and perfect for your morning brew. Check out fazendacoffee.com/morning brew, or if you just don't want or if you don't want morning brew stuff, fazendacoffee.com will take you there. Great website, great people, fazendacoffee.com. Razor, I will fully admit, I have already taken I didn't go with the tincture with melatonin in it because I'd be falling asleep. I'd be yawning more than you ever did on a morning brew, Jaffe and Razor. But I've taken mine already because I'm looking forward to getting to sleep. I've had a long day. We'll get to Sunset Lake CBD in just a moment. So I'm feeling good. First of all, how you doing, bud? We haven't done a show since a couple of days. You've been busy with college stuff. I was at NHL Network. We didn't do a show after the Detroit game. A nice effort there. We're not even going to talk about the roadie that ended 0-5. But how you doing after watching the Bruins take on the Washington Capitals, the Ovi-led Capitals?
Yeah, good. I did yawn, just for everyone's sake. I was yawning in the hallway on the way out of the garden tonight. I caught myself. I'm like, oh, perfect.
Is that an early yawn for you? Do you normally yawn? You're a yawner, though.
I yawn. I yawn. I do.
Did you ever yawn while playing?
Oh, yeah. I used to yawn when I was nervous too, or I do. Yes. I guess I do. I never have a reason to get nervous anymore, unfortunately. But when I get nervous, I yawn. So I used to yawn a lot in dressing rooms. Before
that's
games.
Not abnormal.
Yeah,
I would do that too. I'm not a huge yawner. I'll say that, and I'll be yawning all the time. But all right, well,
I'm a yawner.
I
did do it in the hallway on the way out of there, even though it was a decent game. I have a hard time. I just have a hard time getting excited or being. Yeah, I was on Ovi watch tonight. That's it. I was waiting for him to jump over the boards. I was excited for Ovi tonight. Good effort by the Bruins. Again, another night of they just don't have enough. David's doing his thing, boy. I can't applaud him enough for his season, for his leadership and his go.
And
but
he
beyond
wasn't
that,
great
they
in the
just
first.
don't have enough.
He wasn't great in the first, and he took bad penalties again.
Yep.
And he admitted it post game, which I talked about that on our post game show, Razor, on Nesson, and I think that's incredibly important. It's not that he didn't, look, you're going to make mistakes, etc. But I didn't feel like he had jump in the first. By the way, the whole team didn't really have a lot of jump in the first. They were okay early on. They were okay. But then they kind of did the Bruin thing where they gave up the shorty, and he was on the ice for the power play, the shorty. But he also took a bad penalty in the O-zone, and he marked it, meaning he talked about it, and I think that's important. And he rectified it with his effort in the second and third period, I felt.
Exactly. He doesn't need to justify anything to anybody at this point. And yeah, you're right. He took full responsibility for that, and completely accountable for his effort and trying to get everybody into the fight. So, more so than the 2 goals he scored, just kind of his effort and his bounce back. Because again, he can mail that in even after if a bad penalty, it doesn't go his way, shorthanded. All right, tonight's not my night. I'll just watch Ovi, and he doesn't. But again, beyond that, they work real hard. They are going to get a win at some point. It's going to probably be against one of these better teams where, like they beat Florida a few weeks ago at home. Florida was up 2-0. They just lulled them to sleep. Like, I thought that was what was going to happen tonight. I thought the Bruins were going to get a kind of a random late one and win 3-2. In Washington's case, they'd lost 3 in a row, and they decided to put the hammer down at the end.
I fully admit that I thought once it was 2-0, and it was a classic, as of late, classic Bruins. Hey, we're going to be in it for a little while. Something bad's going to happen, or you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden we're going to get scored on, and then another one's going to happen. And basically that's what it was. It was 2-0. I thought it was going to be a 4-5-1 type game, Razor. I did. So I will tip my Morning Brew hat towards the Bruins and say, good effort, second and third period. That doesn't make anything okay. It is what it is. Okay, I get it. And we hear from a lot of fans on social media, right, about how the more they lose, it's actually okay because the better draft position they potentially have. You still don't want to go down that road. I don't. But, okay, if that's the end result and they get a higher pick, it is what it is. But at least I felt like this was a much better effort, much more determined effort, much better. The second periods have been lousy, and this was so good, right? This was so good, especially led by the middle stat line. We can talk about them in just a minute. I think the other positive I took out of this, I thought was the play of Jeremy Swayman in the second and third period. And I don't know, I felt like I needed to see that. I really did. I felt like I needed to see those kind of saves that he made. By the way, I don't fault him on any of the goals in the first period. Do you? I mean, that was a great shot by Dowd. Am I missing something there? I mean, that was a 2-on-1, Shorty. He smoked it. He was a right shot from the inside arc. You tell me. Am I right? Am I wrong about either of the goals?
No, he ripped that one. Listen, Sway's my only issue with that is there's been a lot of those. And again,
you're talking the Dowd goal.
Like a lot of down the wings, over the block or over the glove. And again, no one likes Sway more than me. And it's okay when it's kind of this close game, but he wasn't giving that up in the playoffs last year. He hasn't given those up in his season. So, he can clean that up. I think he can hold his edge. I think he can track a little bit better, but there's no question, like that set the, Bruins tied up 2-2. He made 3 huge saves on Wilson and Protas. So that game's over. That turns into 5-1, if not for Sway at that point,
exactly.
Possibly. Another shorthanded goal. Down in the dumps, passed again, the whole thing. So big on him to do that. I think he's had a bad season, admittedly, but he's trying, he's grinding, and I appreciate that a lot because like some of the other guys, he could just say woe is me and mail it in for 5 more times. So good on him. And they just can't buy a break. Mason Lowright, it's tough for him right now. Just nothing going his way in any way whatsoever. So it's far from on Sway, and again, he did a good job battling, like the rest of the group, right?
Yeah, battled back second and third period, battled ferociously. I thought the Ovechkin goal, a gorgeous power play goal, set up by the puck being top of the umbrella, whatever you want to call it, where John Carlson has it. John Carlson, by the way, has the second most assists of any player on Alexander Ovechkin's goal. He sends a puck. He has a choice. Am I going to shoot it? Am I going to rip it from up there? Am I going to pass it or look for a deflection from Strome on the right side of the net, or Ovechkin, who had sifted his way down, gone stealth to the left side? And then there was a mid-slot option too. I didn't catch right away. It was Tom Wilson who had worked his way into the middle there as well. So he could have looked for like one of those mid-slot tips, that kind of in between the circles type play. Meanwhile, Carlson makes a gorgeous bullet pass down to the right side of the net, so the glove side of Swayman, and Strome bumps it. He one-times a backhand pass right over to Ovechkin on the other side for a gaping net. I mean, wide open. Sway has to respect that potential redirection, and Ovechkin puts it in to be now just 3 behind Wayne Gretzky. And I mean, it's a phenomenal play. There's nothing that Sway or anybody could do there. I mean, the Bruins PK hasn't been stellar all year. I will say, though, the Washington Capitol power play is pretty damn good. I mean, you've got options galore out there.
Their back end's so good. That's what stood out to me is offensively how good they are. They work the line, they move it D to D so well, and open up high tips all over the ice. and net plays around, and that was one of them. Strome's a big dude. He's way bigger than I thought he was. Really tall, really
Sneaky
long.
6'3". He's a
Yeah,
sneaky 6'3",
he
205 or
is.
something.
I don't know why. I mean, just because I guess he's been in Arizona and out west and not Anaheim. Like I just didn't. He surprised me with his height and his length. Great pass, great play, and luckily for all of us, we got to see 891 and we got to see Ovi, and he did it in person for us.
Yeah, and you know what? The crowd's reaction. First of all, there was a lot of Caps fans there.
Yes.
Understandably so. Whether they're from the New England area or they came from DC, who knows? Probably more from the New England area. They came out en masse, and understandably so, to support their team and their all-world player. But I also, you know what? A lot of Bruins fans gave him a nice ovation.
Lots of people standing up for it.
Yeah, and you know what? Damn cool. Like, you know, and I expected that, but to see it and to hear it, I thought was awesome too, because it's really okay to enjoy seeing greatness, even if it's from an opponent. You have to respect that, and I thought Bruins fans were tremendous in that regard.
Especially when your team's on the playoffs, so it's even easier. You know? It's kind of like, it didn't knock us out of the playoffs. Who cares? You know, get 8. So now again, there was a great buzz in the building with him in there, and I think everyone there, if they were hockey fans, Bruins fans listening to this show that were there to see Ovi and have him do something cool and appreciate all the stuff he's done for the league.
I love seeing him score because I love the youthful exuberance that still comes out of him, albeit he's almost 40, doesn't act like it. Razor, I was downstairs before the game catching up with a good buddy of mine, Scott Allen, who's the assistant coach with the Washington Capitals. Love Bulldog and New Bedford, Mass guy. I mean, he is a hardcore Boston area kid. I love Scott. He's great to see him. But Ovi, Alex comes walking by like the rest of the team when I'm chatting with him. He's always the last one into the locker room, but he's so excited to be there. He's already taken his tie off, Razor, before he's even into the changing room, you know, and he was all smiles. He was all energetic. And I've seen it before, you know, up close, whether I've done games between the benches or whatever, but to see him with that exuberance walking into the arena I know he's on the precipice of an amazing record, but still to see it at his age with all the games under his belt and everything, the energy, it's really freaking impressive. And you played against him early in your career, well, later in your career, not later, but mid part of your career and early in his career. And I got to imagine that energy, you could feel it on the ice when he was out there too, as a player.
Yeah, his presence is extremely high, and you know when he's around, he's again that big smile. He wants to laugh, but you also know there's a killer in there as well, and you know everyone loves him. His teammates have always loved him. He's always again not like the other greats. He's been more of the, more along Joe Thornton lines where he wants to bring everybody in with a joke, and when he brings everybody in with a beer, we're going out, we're hanging out, we're all going to dinner, we're staying out. He's always been able to do that, and it's an endearing quality that he's had, and something that's a little bit different than the Sids and the Bergies and the he just has a different presence, but one that's just as presidential.
In this game, he had 1 goal and 1 assist in 16 and a half minutes. He had 2 shots on goal, 2 others that missed the net. Only 1 hit, but I'm going to call it a ho-hum kind of pedestrian Ovechkin game. He was, I think, hoping, and I thought he was maybe going to get another 1 or 2 after 2-0.
Just missed the empty netter.
He did.
I was waiting on the empty netter. I was really cheering for the empty netter.
He little kidded it.
Dying.
He did. He was absolutely. He was above the play.
Yeah.
He was waiting for that puck to come out. He was like a lion seeing a steak, man. He was ready to pounce on that thing ferociously, but he wasn't getting into the mosh pit for that. He was well above the play, hoping to get it. We thought he might get one. Very early in the NESN telecast, my friend, I caught it at the end. You know how it is. I listen, the earpiece is in and out, whatever. Then I hear you talking, but then I
there's
didn't realize
chaos up there,
they had video of you going against Ovi. So I think this is a perfect time to relive once or twice, perhaps, that Ovi scored on you and your experiences of playing against him. And you seem to remember it well in the telecast.
Yeah, I've been able to see the goals now over the last couple of years because I couldn't remember. I a year and a half ago, if I was I knew it was 2 or 3. Like I knew he didn't scorch me. I knew I didn't get any highlight reel goals against me, but I didn't really know the gist of it. So I was able to see once those highlights start coming out of all the goalies scored on, etc. I saw the couple of the goals. So, but tonight was great for the game because I saw Z had them in. 5 or 6 seconds before the goal rather than like a second and a half. So I got to see it develop a little bit more. And
you got to blame Skillsy.
Oh yeah, well Skillsy's fault. Like that one's a joke. I stop a breakaway, then I stop.
Wait. Set it up. Who are you playing for, and when was it? And
so all three of the goals Ovi scored with, and they had it. P-Dub broke it down. So 30 shots, 3 goals. Like I had a 90% save percentage against them. So I'm going to take that one to the bank in a big way for sure.
Okay. Proud moment. I like it.
And then, but no, the second goal, the one he gets me on a one-timer. So he does get me on a one-timer in Toronto one afternoon or one night. The other 2 are in Washington when I'm a Leaf. And the one is like Skillsy's just, no wonder my career was I had stuck with him for 5 years, and you can see why. He got so much better after he left Toronto. And like I stop a breakaway, then it goes to my right. There's another shot right up against the post, and I don't have. You can see or VH and RVH in that play. Yeah. VH doesn't work very well and never did, but we did it for some reason. And if I had been doing RVH, I might have stopped that one. But yeah, Skills, he just gives up a breakaway, then he's spinning around like a top in front of the net, no idea where anybody is, and 8 pounds.
Have you ever told Hal that you got why did you have to get so much better after we played together?
I say it to him all the time, for sure. It was a joke. Like I couldn't believe when he went to Pittsburgh and he was good. It's like, what the unbelievable.
How does he answer you when you say
that? He knows it. He knows it better than I do. He laughs. He fooled everyone for 15 years.
Oh, hey, what a wonderful career he put together. Amazing stuff. Have you ever been on the bench or one of the ice you can remember Ovi running over a player when he was when he was younger, he absolutely throttled guys. Absolutely hammered them.
Well, I'm sure I was in net for a couple of them.
Nothing that jumps out.
Nothing that jumps out, but certainly it's always been part of his game for me. Like I've thought of that just as much as the slap one-timer is him running guys over and getting in on forechecks, and you're just like, look out! You can't do anything about it if he had you in his crosshairs.
Which is what really separates him, not from every single other goal scorer, but many goal scorers. The amount of physical contact that he initiated. Other guys took hits. He initiated more hits. And I don't have the list of goal scorers of the all-time greats in front of me to remember every single one. I mean, a guy like, I don't know where, Dino Ciccarelli wasn't big, but he was scrappy and physical. Shanahan, he was initiated a lot of hits. But
JR.
JR eventually did. Eventually, yes, but you're right.
So I the other thing too is people. Well, I mean, a lot of people were too young, but I think we forget a little bit how physical the game was when Sid came in, and Ovi came in, when the two of them came in, and how much Ovi dictated, like you said, like he was scary out there, and you the game's different now. You don't line guys up the same way, but he lined guys up.
He would hit. I would say, is this a fair statement? He would hit to hurt.
Yeah. No, exactly. He was mean, like Shanahan.
Yeah,
like they have mean tendencies in them. And again, that goes back to the start with energy. Like he had that energy where he enjoyed hurting people too.
Speaking of hitting to hurt and energy, fair to say that our Apex most entertaining moment of the game. I mean, there's some great goals and whatever, but the fight between Dylan McElrath and Viel,
Awesome.
Jeffrey Viel, I mean, had it timed at 59 seconds. I mean, seriously, I wanted to puke after watching that. I mean, you want to talk about core strength, arm strength, leg strength, and these guys each got in good stuff. I would you agree? Call it the Apex most entertaining moment?
Yeah, without a doubt. And it was like, especially Viel having to handle the big fella for 59 seconds. What was really impressive. And he took a couple shots, and like I thought, ooh, that he just stood in there like strong chin, strong lungs, strong legs, really good showing. And again, things like that, I guess that's the positive we're taking at this point, are individual highlights and positives out of these games, and good for Jeffrey. Good, that gets you. It's silly, but those that gets you a deal. That I don't know what his contract status is, but he's getting another one just because of that fight. And good for him, and should be very proud.
And Jeffrey Viel's not a huge guy, but he's not small.
Big. He's not. Yeah,
what he's 6'1", 6'2".
Yeah,
but McElrath at 6'5", 230 something looked mammoth over him.
He's an animal. Yeah, no. So he again to hold that big fella off for 59 seconds is solid.
Folks, if you're into the fight game, check it out. Dylan McElrath, a first-round pick, by the way, in his career, New York Rangers, if I remember correctly, has been a longtime captain in Hershey. He's been a great leader by example down there, but he's gotten a lot of games this year, last year up in the NHL due to injuries, but he's persevered, has made a long career for himself, and he is a beast of a man. So check it out. Apex Entertainment, 100,000 square feet of pure fun up in Marlboro. ApexEntertainment.com. Go check it out. That is our Apex Entertainment most entertaining moment of the game. A perfect time right here. We got a couple of other things to get to. Let's recognize our other sponsors as well. The first one being Graciano Construction. They serve Boston and the greater Metro West area, and perhaps even a little outside of that. Graciano Construction is the contractor that you want to help refresh and revitalize your space. They do it all. They do it with pride. They do it with respect. GracianoConstruction.com. Or call them at 508-330-7589 to discuss what you are looking to do at your house, your apartment, your townhome, whatever you got. Doug Graciano, his brother Andre, and the rest of the crew are fantastic. They listen to what you want, not what they want to do. GracianoConstruction.com. All right, and as I said, I've already taken my Sunset Lake CBD product right before I was able to jump on with you and RC. I'm looking forward to getting some good rest after a travel day today. Came back from the NHL Network, and I've got an early morning tomorrow. So, Razor, I took my good night sleep tincture, not the one with melatonin, though. If I took that one out, you'd be doing a show solo. You just would be, partner. I'd be speaking like Steve Carell from whatever that movie was, Bruce Almighty. I'd be out. My tongue would be down to the side. But it's great stuff. Sunset Lake CBD. They're out of northern Vermont. They grow, harvest, and ship all of their craft CBD, all their products directly from its farm up in northern Vermont, straight to your door. So you don't need to go to a store. You can skip lines wherever you are, and you can get some of the best products out there. And they've got all types of products. Razor, you like the sleep stuff and the relaxed stuff as well, as do I. Gummies and tincture. They've got stuff, topicals, to help you relieve some sore muscles, or also help rehydrate dry skin. It's perfect. Their CBD topicals are perfect if you're a hockey player, somebody that works out, whatever. Give them a try. They've got so many different products, folks. Go on their website, sunsetlakecbd.com. Use the code BRU20, BRU20, for 20% off your first order. And also, remember, $75 or more, Sunset Lake CBD will ship the stuff to you for free. They got great products. We've been thrilled, Razor, having them, like all of our sponsors, but they've been a great late season addition. And sometimes you need to relax, de-stressify a little, if that a word, de-stressify, and especially this season has been a little tough. So Sunset Lake CBD helping us get through the end. Again, use the code BRU20 for 20% off. What did you think of the middle stat line? Why do you think? I thought the second period they were excellent. What did you think? Why they were able to get going in this game?
I don't know if there's one thing. I think Middlestat, of course, he's the one that drives the line from the middle of the ice. I thought he was holding onto the puck a little bit longer. He was trying to take people on in a offensive type way and getting to pucks. And again, I think it's tough because again, we're not seeing the full picture, but I think he does back off D in the league just enough. He's one of those ones who's going to get a little bit of space when he has the puck. One of the few guys in the Bruins lineup that could get that or can get that. So I think it started with him, and I think it's kind of because he gets a little bit of extra space. And we've talked about Lettieri a few times on the show where
he was good.
Yeah, he just gets it. He's been a pro a long time. He is going to try his absolute best every time he's on the ice. And in these kind of situations at this time of year, for him, he knows that this is a Stanley Cup game every time he goes out there. He treats it that way, and you see why he can have some success in these situations. But I guess a long-winded answer back to your question is I think I think a lot of it goes on Middlestat and him driving the line, which is a positive.
Vinny Lettieri is on a 1-year contract. If I'm remembering correctly. Actually, I think it's a 2-year contract that it's ending this year. I think I've got it right. At the NHL level, it's for the league minimum of $775, and in the minors, Puckpedia, the new go-to site, has him at $550 in the minors. So his contract's up at the end of this year. To your point, every game is a big game for him. He's playing for. He'll get another contract. He will, because he's going. I mean, he's led the team down in Providence in many ways. He's been a great leader for them down there. So is Patrick Brown. I mean, they are what they are at the NHL level, but you can't. You got to at least admit, like, they're busting their asses up here. They're doing their part that they can. I mean, that's what it's about. And so Vinny Lettieri with a nice showing. I thought that line in general worked the wall well, got pucks down back in deep. On the power play goal that the Bruins scored, Pastrnak, who, by the way, had 2 goals in this game, Middlestat made the play really happen in the first place by keeping it in at the left point with a gorgeous hand-eye coordination type play, knocking a puck down, barely keeping it in. And then the Bruins eventually recycle it. And how about the not the no look, but the one-timer slap pass for Morgan Geekie over to David Pastrnak? Almost looked like, Kucherov over to Braden Point or somebody like that. The way that Kucherov does that, probably better than anybody in the National Hockey League. Geekie does it from the right side. The special play right there, fun to see. And David gets more, Geekie gets more. Again, I'm not grasping at stuff. I'm just looking at and saying, what positives can we find? Well, positive is the power play came through. It's a bit of an adventure still at times, but the power play did come through because of those 2 guys.
Yeah, exactly. It's really based off of those 2 making plays. And again, Geekie just continues. He couldn't have had a better season. Like, just couldn't have had even if it's because again, we talked about his healthy scratch, like that all builds into having this season that he had. If he had just had 30 goals out of the gate and not been healthy scratch, it's not the same kind of season. This season couldn't have been better for him in showing that a team would want this kind of a guy who fights, a guy who's resilient, a guy who gets paid off, and a guy who shows how much talent he ends up having at the end of the day at this level as a higher round pick that just didn't quite get it yet. And whatever it is, he's got it now. Just a great talent and a nice power play goal. To get them going just a little bit.
Yeah. Geekie with 2 assists in the game. He played 20 minutes and 57 seconds, more than anybody except Henry Jokiharju. I didn't think that. Jokiharju played just under 23 minutes. He led the way for the Bruins. And I believe it was Jokiharju's 400th game in the National Hockey League. Little nugget of whateverness right there. Congratulations to him. All right. So the Bees now will have practice on Wednesday and then get on the plane and head up to Montreal. This is a tiring stretch. You come home from the road trip. Now, the good news is they had Sunday off. They get home from the Detroit game. They have Sunday off all day. Then they have practice on Monday. They play Tuesday, travel Wednesday, play Thursday, home Friday and Saturday, play home Saturday, then get back on the road and go play Sunday. This is look, it'd be a tough stretch even if you were in the playoff race. Yeah. This is an incredibly, the on and off the planes. And yes, I know that they travel well and it's nice. We've been there for years. We've all done it, et cetera, but it's still tiring as all heck at times, Razor. This could really be a very tough stretch because this is where the mind now really controls the body. It says like, okay, uncle on these, and you're playing, you're playing a team in Montreal who's got a lot to play for. They do. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be a festive atmosphere up there. And then you've got Carolina at home, who's a team you don't match up great with. And then you got to go back on the road to Buffalo to a team that last few times you played them, they've taken it to you.
No, it's a tough stretch. I mean, the poor equipment guys and the trainers, it's even worse on them.
That's true.
How much work they have to do here over the last 3 weeks. Montreal is going to be difficult. The energy is going to be through the roof up there. It has been a long time that this time of year Montreal was better than Boston in the standings, and they're going to revel in it up there. Mm-hmm. There'll be a lot of talk on that. And then the back-to-back travel, and they stay out on the road to the rare Eastern Conference road trip where they're in Buffalo and Jersey.
Oh, that's right. After that, Jersey.
Yeah, so they stay out on the road. So it gets even, they got to stay in Newark for 2 more days. So it's more frustrating. Again, they're Carolina, I kind of look at that like they're going to win that game. That seems like one where Carolina's in Saturday night. You could just find a way to squeak one out. Montreal might get their antenna up in a big way. Montreal and Boston, it doesn't matter where anybody is in the standings. That's always a big one. So I do feel like they're going to get a win because of how hard they're playing. It's just going to be one where they sneak up on teams. And again, great effort tonight, effort wise. It's just they just don't have enough, right. And that's what it is, folks.
Same theme. Last thing I want to get to wrap up the show. I was surprised that Fabian Lysell was scratched. I did not expect that. I thought he was going to play. I actually talked to him this morning for just about 3 or 4 minutes. First chance to really meet him. He said he felt great. He was looking forward to, he had the day off like the rest of the team did on Sunday, hard practice on Monday, he said, but he felt great. He was looking forward to it. I don't think he knew at that. If he knew at that time, he didn't give off that he wasn't playing, because after morning skate, when Coach Sacco was asked about lineup, Joe said, Viel might play. He might play. He might be in. We haven't that. So there was no indication. Maybe they had already made up their minds. I don't know, but there was no overt indication. When I say I was surprised he didn't play, I know Sacco was asked about it post-game, saying, and I think his answer, as I paraphrase, was, he said to the reporters that asked, you saw the games out west. You saw, this was a different type of game. So this was a lineup decision for the game. Am I saying that correctly? I don't have my phone open in front of me. I can look for it quickly. Anyways, it was a decision not to play him. All right. And Viel comes in, and I just think, it just kind of surprised me a little bit. If only just to see, if you got him up, here we go. Here's the quote on Sacco. Why is it Lysell didn't play? Quote, you saw the game out there. Tonight was more of a lineup decision based on the opponent. Okay. That's what it was. I don't know. I don't know. Don't you got to play him though?
I'm just going. Yeah. I mean, you could have, I'm pretty sure McElrath was up in the air, whether he was playing or not. I assume Viel had something to do with him. But you could have taken someone else out of the lineup and play Lysell instead.
That's what I mean.
No, I mean, we talked about it that we thought he would get the rest of the way and show his merit. I guess, again, it's whether they have a plan or whether they think, I don't know. But obviously, again, I do go back to, you don't just get games in the NHL too.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe the plan was play 5 games, sit 1 game and watch and learn and think about what you're seeing and then go back down. It's with Fabian, it's close. It would have been nice for him to get a goal over the weekend. He had a breakaway, and like he feels like he needs one just to really kickstart him. He's trying to make adjustments along the boards, etc. So
my take
as long as he goes back in the lineup against Montreal, then it's, you can understand that it does help him to learn. He hasn't watched many games in the NHL, right? He hasn't watched a game up on the 9th floor. He's never here. He's always in Providence. So there is a value in that.
Okay. Well, again, the direct quote was this, so I have it right. You saw the game out there. Tonight was more of a lineup decision based on the opponent. I've said all along, though, just play him, see what you got to, but they took a different tack to this one. We'll have to wait and see if he ends up playing against the Canadiens. I'm going to guess that he will play against Montreal. All right, that's going to wrap up this show. Razor, you and I will do one after the Montreal game. I think we'll have something to talk about up there. As you said, those games are always something fun. So that'll be after Thursday night's game that Razor and I and RC will join us, and we talk about the Boston Bruins and the Montreal Canadiens. Thanks to all of our sponsors, Fazenda, Graciano, Apex, and Sunset Lake CBD for helping make this show possible. Thanks to you, Razor. Thanks to RC. By the way, congratulations to Ryan Leonard as well, a kid from BC that Razor and I both covered for the last 2 years, made his NHL debut with the Washington Capitals. Actually had a nice debut. No points, but 14 and a half minutes or so. Played pretty well. Was instrumental, I think, on their fourth goal, where he helped get the puck. No, third goal. Beg your pardon. Third goal. The Strome goal. They gave him a lead. It's helped. He retrieved the puck a couple of times and went low to high with it. So congrats to him signing his contract and making his NHL debut. Folks, we'll talk to you after Thursday's game. Everybody hang in there and keep enjoying your coffee.